President of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro, requested the Attorney General's office investigate the destabilization attempts by the far right. In Paraguay, MERCOSUR held its 24th ordinary meeting of the Council of the Common Market. Those in attendance discussed methods of progress with third countries. And in France, Prime Minister Gabriel Attal officially resigned after Sunday's electoral setback. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. The President of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro, requested the Attorney General's office to assume the investigation of destabilization attempts by the far right. The Attorney General, Tarek William Saab, informed that the Public Ministry appointed the 83rd National Prosecutor's Office to investigate and sanction these new threats of assassination against the Venezuelan president. The order is given after the Colombian paramilitary group Autodefensas Conquistadoras de la Sierra informed that they were contacted by groups of the Venezuelan far right with the purpose of destabilizing the country. The Colombian paramilitaries requested a meeting with the authorities of the country to deliver more information so that the respective judicial proceedings may be initiated. Also, the Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro presented a completely remodeled integral diagnostic center, La Urbina, located in the Petare parish of the state of Miranda. This was the largest health center built by Commander Hugo Chavez in this sector. The center has modern medical attention and hospitalization services and is oriented to provide attention to more than 12,500 families of the area. The head of state highlighted that work such as these are made possible thanks to the guidelines of the so-called 1x10 of the good government, a social program that attends to different problems in the country. At the end of this activity, the people of Miranda welcomed the presidential candidate for the Great Patriotic Poll. With a great congregation, the people of the Petare parish raised slogans reaffirming their support to the candidacy of the current Venezuelan president and condemned the unilateral sanctions of the United States. In this context, Maduro reaffirmed his position in defense of democracy.
A class. This is the electoral ballot. There are 10 candidates, 38 political parties. Do you want more democracy? For those who say there is a dictatorship here, who of these 10 candidates is qualified and prepared to lead the government and the reins of Venezuela? I ask the opponents of the independents, are any of the 9 opposition candidates prepared to govern the Venezuela of the 21st century?
Meanwhile, the election campaign in Venezuela continues. Our correspondent Junison visited the neighborhood of Petare in Caracas and interviewed its people while President Nicolás Maduro held a campaign rally. Here's what the inhabitants of Petare said.
Today we are visiting Petare in the eastern part of Caracas, Venezuela, one of the biggest barrios, roughly to be translated slums, of entire Latin America. Its full name being Dulce Nombre de Jesús de Petare, the neighborhood is home to approximately 500,000 to 700,000 people. And it has received today the president of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro, to hold a speech here. We asked the residents what they are thinking about the upcoming elections in Venezuela on 28th of July.
We see the joy of the people, the youngsters, the women, the elders. It is incredible. Despite the blockade and the economic warfare, there is conscious people supporting on the streets our Bolivarian revolution. With great happiness, love, great enthusiasm I see in these elections, and I swear to God, with our people, our brother Maduro continues to be the same person and will be elected by our people with the same joy and the love of all of Venezuela.
Petare is a popular neighborhood, a poor neighborhood, and its citizens are struggling hard to earn their keep. Still, they show a high degree of consciousness, including in international matters and regarding the U.S. pressure against Venezuela.
We expect that our president stays, because a lot of things happened here in Venezuela. and he has been a president who has taken the things at hand. We don't say we're good because of the effects of the blockade, but we are in better shape than before. Here in Venezuela, we have resisted and struggled at the side of our president. Things were very difficult in 2015, very difficult. We had to wait in line for hours to get food, but step by step, we are overcoming the crisis with the support of our president.
Venezuela is not Libya, it's not Macri, it's not Argentina. Here we are reconfirming the people's struggle. We will win.
And then came President Nicolas Maduro to Petare. He arrived here with thousands of people waiting for him under hot sun.
We are supporting our president Nicolás Maduro consequently. With Maduro, the revolution progresses. He is our only candidate who supports the people. All our progress comes from his hands.
Maduro, estamos contigo, te defendemos.
Maduro, we are with you, we defend the Bolivarian revolution, whatever it takes. We are here and carry the legacy of Hugo Chavez.
The people of Petare expressed their support to Nicolas Maduro ahead of the presidential elections July 28. Yunus Sonar, Caracas, Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela.
The state prosecutor in Bolivia, Cesar Celes, offered details about the failed coup d'etat in the country. There are currently 24 people implicated in the case labeled as coup d'etat 3, although a total of 70 are under investigation. During an interview, the prosecutor assured that in the hearings of precautionary measures, 6 formal charges have been presented. He also revealed that during these judicial processes, important elements were revealed related to the authorship of crimes that imply sentences of up to 25 years of imprisonment. These were obtained both through the statements of the accused and in various raids.
There is a probability of authorship of the crimes charged, that is to say, there is sufficient evidence that the crimes have been committed and that there was a coup d'etat in Bolivia. Based not only on the evidence, but also on the statements made by the defendants in these hearings within the framework of their right to defense, and when they gave their informative statements to the public prosecutor's office. But not only that, there are other elements. Homes have been searched, offices have been searched, military premises, an endless amount of information and documentation has been collected and, as the Minister of Government told you a few days ago, it is a complex investigation. But it is already determining and clarifying those 3 phases of a coup d'etat: the planning phase, the execution phase, and the consolidation phase.
This Sunday, the 24th ordinary meeting of the Council of the Common Market MERCOSUR was held in Paraguay, where the attending foreign ministers discussed methods of progress with third countries. During the gathering, it was officially unveiled that for the last time in this government's term, Uruguay will assume the pro-tempore presidency of the alliance. The country's foreign minister, Omar Paganini, said that they will base the exercise on free access to move forward in the next 6 months. The improvement of the free trade zone, the logistic infrastructure of transport and connectivity, and the deepening of an external agenda for a better international insertion. Uruguay has described MERCOSUR's external agenda as critical for its government. Let's take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. Other stories coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back. In France, the new Popular Front, made up of the left-wing parties, leads with 184 parliamentarians the political forces represented in the National Assembly. According to the Interior Ministry, behind the left wing is the ruling junta, formed by the ruling Renaissance Party and its allies with 166 seats. The far-right Marine Le Pen was relegated to third place with 143 seats. Although none of the 3 blocs achieved an absolute majority, the new Popular Front could call for a new leftist prime minister, given his victory in the second round of legislative elections held on Sunday. In this context, French Prime Minister Gabriel Attal arrived Monday morning at the Élysée Palace to tender his resignation to President Emmanuel Macron. The Prime Minister had announced his resignation on Sunday after the far-right's defeat in the legislative elections. So far, President Macron, unlike his right-hand man Gabriel Attal and Marine Le Pen's extremist formation, has not commented on the results. The new Popular Front leader, Jean-Luc Mélenchon, called on the head of state to entrust them with the formation of a government.
No estamos listos para entrar.
We are not ready to enter into prayers with his departure to make combinations,
Sobre todo después de haber combatido incansablemente después de 7 años su política,
especially after having shared tirelessly after 7 years his policy of social mistreatment,
el pueblo francés. Vengo a confirmar las buenas razones de lo que
of
debemos
ecological denunciation. The French people, I come to confirm the good reasons in which we must do, especially after the vote spoke,
de que el nuevo Frente Popular, a pesar de todos los desafíos,
after which Popular Front, despite all the challenges of all the defamations of all the insults, we have the victory today that the people have given us.
la victoria hoy día que el pueblo.
Coalition leader Jean-Luc Mélenchon stressed that President Emmanuel Macron has a duty to call on the new Popular Front to govern.
Admitir su derrota.
He has to admit his defeat without trying to manipulate or change it in any way. The Prime Minister must, who never received the confidence of the National Assembly, comes from leading the campaign lost by his party and received a massive popular challenge vote. The President must and has a duty to call the new Popular Front to govern.
As the results were released, leaders from several nations reacted following the victory of the left. President of Venezuela Nicolás Maduro expressed on his X accounts congratulations to the new Popular Front that achieved a great victory in the parliamentary elections in France. Maduro sent greetings to the French people, to the social movements and their popular forces for this important civic day that strengthens union and peace. On behalf of Venezuela, Maduro sent them a big Bolivarian embrace. Brazilian President Lula da Silva expressed his happiness on the victory of the left in France and the Labour Party in the UK. Through his X account, he said, "I'm very happy with the demonstration of greatness and maturity of the political forces in France that have united against extremism in Sunday's legislative elections. This result, like the victory of the Labour Party in the United Kingdom, reinforces the importance of dialogue between progressive segments in defense of democracy and social justice. They should serve as an inspiration for South Africa." In the United States on Sunday, President Joe Biden kicked off his electoral campaign by assuring his voters that he is prepared to face Donald Trump in the presidential battle. This way, the president visited the state of Pennsylvania over the weekend and was asked in his first meeting with the press if he had the support of his party, to which he responded affirmatively. The confirmation comes amid voiced concerns from fellow Democrats regarding his physical and mental fitness to serve a second term, especially after his performance on the last presidential debate. While attending the campaign event in Philadelphia, Biden avoided addressing the crisis on his speech and sought to reassure voters he was up for the re-election battle ahead.
Folks, I know with every fiber of my being, I know I won't look like I'm 40 years old, but I've been around a little bit. The Bishop and I were talking about that. It's heck turning 40. Well, all kidding aside, I've been doing this a long time. And I, honest to God, have never been more optimistic about America's future if we stick together. I really mean it.
This Monday, Hurricane Beryl made landfall in Texas. The Category 1 storm registered winds of up to 90 kilometers per hour. Local authorities report that Beryl entered the country through the Matagorda County, but will continue moving inland, resulting in torrential rains and potentially deadly storm surges. In this context, authorities issued emergency alerts and stated that storm surges of between 1 and 2 meters in height are expected. Currently, more than 90,000 households are without power. We have a fun short break coming up, but before we invite you to join our WhatsApp community for our English-speaking audience. You can scan the QR code on screen to join directly, share the link to reach more people. Constant news coverage of Latin America and the Caribbean as well as the rest of the world. Fun short break, don't go away. Welcome back. This Monday, Israeli occupation forces unexpectedly stormed southwest Gaza for the first time in 3 months. Witnesses claim that the genocidal troops opened heavy fire on roads, homes and residential buildings, causing dozens of casualties. The raid ensued another massive and desperate exodus of thousands of Palestinians to the northwest of the city. According to Gazan sources, Israeli military vehicles entered the Tel Al-Awa neighborhood, the industrial zone, the university areas and the southern outskirts of Rimal under heavy shelling. Israel continues its genocidal operation in the Gaza Strip, killing at least 40 Palestinians in 3 massacres perpetrated during the last 24 hours. Health authorities report that these actions left more than 70 wounded. However, they warn that both figures could be even higher since many victims are still trapped under the rubble. Authorities also denounced that occupation forces prevent the entry of ambulances and civil defense teams to the bombed areas. According to the most recent health report, some 38,193 Palestinians have been killed and another 87,903 have been wounded, mostly women and children, since October 2023. Thousands of citizens protested in Jerusalem and Tel Aviv for the second day in a row, demanding that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu reach an agreement on the exchange of detainees in Gaza or resign from office. According to local media, demonstrators gathered in front of the houses of members of parliament and blocked the main highways. Those protesting called for a ceasefire that would allow new agreements for the exchange of detainees. They also asked international mediators to increase their efforts to reach an agreement. Protesters stressed the urgency for the region to live in peace and not in war. The newly elected Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Keir Starmer, confirmed on Sunday that he remains firm in his intention to recognize the state of Palestine in line with the campaign principles of the Labour Party. Starmer spoke by telephone with the President of the Palestinian National Authority, Mahmoud Abbas. And during the dialogue, the British politician maintained that his policy on the recognition of Palestine has not changed. Starmer conveyed to Abbas that his priorities for the region include promoting further international efforts to achieve a ceasefire, the return of the remaining hostages in Gaza, increasing humanitarian aid, supporting the Palestinian National Authority financially through the release of Palestinian tax funds withheld by Israel, and getting the occupation forces to withdraw completely from the Gaza Strip. The economic community of West African states expressed grave concerns about the potential disintegration and escalating insecurity in the region following the decision by Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger to sign a confederation treaty and leave the bloc. During the summit held in Nigeria, ECOWAS discussed punitive measures that were not clearly established, except for the request of passports to citizens of 3 nations. ECOWAS Commission President Omar Touré warned of a possible political isolation and weakening of security. However, the new Sahel Alliance ratified that the only thing they want to expel from Africa is colonialism and foreign powers. In Niger, the United States continued to withdraw its troops from the territory ahead of the September 15th deadline set by the African nation's military rulers. In this sense, both countries informed that the U.S. troops have completed a withdrawal from their base in the capital city of Niamey and plan to fully depart from Agadez in the north soon. The measure came after Niger's military leaders, who seized power in July 2023, scrapped a military cooperation deal with Washington in March, which implied a withdrawal of the around 650 U.S. soldiers from Niger and the dismantling of a major drone base near Agadez. The West African nation had already ordered the removal of troops from France, the former colonial power and traditional security ally, and has strengthened ties with Russia, which has provided instructors and equipment. In other news, Chinese President Xi Jinping hosted Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban, current EU Council President. The Prime Minister maintains an intense agenda that in the last few days took him to Ukraine and Russia. Orban is now heading to the United States. Western media described Orban's arrival in Beijing as a surprise visit. The Chinese Foreign Affairs Minister, however, announced it as a peace mission. Previously, Eurobloc partners criticized his visit to Russia. The Hungarian Prime Minister assured that Beijing is a key power to create the conditions for peace in the Russian-Ukrainian conflict. In his meeting with the Chinese President, Orban made it clear that Budapest advocates strengthening cooperation with China. And also on Monday, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived in Russia, commenting on details of the binational summit. The Premier celebrated the positive impact of the alliance on various sectors of the country. Modi highlighted progress in areas such as energy, trade, investment, health and tourism between his country and Russia. These aspects and many others will be discussed at the 22nd Annual Russia-India Summit. On Saturday, President Vladimir Putin explained that the agenda will be very extensive, and although he avoided making reference to the issue of Ukraine, he did not rule it out. The Indian leader ratified that he is committed to a peaceful and stable region. We have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. Also join us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.